to episode 30, I believe, of That's So You. My name is Diane, also known as Mrs. You Makes. This is a mainly knitting podcast, but sometimes there's also some crochet and other crafty bits and bobs. If you are a new viewer, thank you for joining me today. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. I know with a lot of the stuff that's been happening on Instagram relating to the My Year of Colour blog post that I have had a huge increase in Instagram followers. So if any of you are here today or now watching that, thank you for joining. As I said, my name is Diane and I am speaking to you from my home in London, which I share with my husband, Mr. Yu, 3 boys known as the Tripletmummys, and my daughter, Little Miss. It is, what's the day today? The 14th of January. It's just gone 11 a.m. Today's episode isn't going to be a long one, or shouldn't be a long one, because I don't have a whole lot to show you, and I need to pick up Little Miss from nursery and also go to the post office to send out some orders. So let's just get to it. As I said, I don't have much to show you, and so that's there. I don't have any knitted FOs, but I do have a non-knitting FO which is up there on the wall, so just give me a moment and I'll get that. Okay, so if you watched the last episode, you will know that I am part of Lady Diane's Fab 8 craft club, and as part of that I ordered some things to use to make the stitch markers which I will be contributing to the craft club. Some of the items I ordered are things that they're not generally knitting related or craft fiber related. It's something that's mainly used for more like for paper craft, and it's something that I used myself to make my wedding invitations. I don't even know if I have one. I think I might have one in the house. If I do have one in the house and I can find it, I'll put a picture of the wedding invitation. So it's something that I use for that. It's like a heat embossing kit. So as I had it, and I had a canvas spare because I wanted to make some items to decorate the home with, I thought I'd use it to test out, just to test it out to see how it would look before going ahead and putting it on the stitch markers I'm making for the club. So this is what I made. It's just something very, very simple. Just the letter U's dotted all over the place. So I've used a heat embossing and trying to get the right angle. So you can kind of see here, it looks a little bit kind of glittery. So what that is, it kind of gives a foil or raised metallic look to something. So you have a clear pigment ink that you put on your stamp, or you can you can get pens that you can just draw out, write out something or draw out a pattern. And then you have embossing powder, which I believe is like a type of plastic. It looks like glitter, but it's more like a type of plastic, and it's very like it's a fine powder, or more of a thicker, more for crushed kind of ones that's a bit bigger. And then you pour that on top of the pattern you've stamped or written out with the embossing pen, and then you get a heating tool, and then when you heat it up, it melts the powder and then gives you that. So as you can see there, it kind of has that raised metallic or foil type look to it. So So I just did that and put up there. There's another one of these I'm working on, but that one I'm using a pen just to doodle something. So I'm still in the middle of doing that. I haven't finished that, and I can't remember if I actually showed it. I don't think I did. That could actually be one of the whips, but I'll bring that out in the next episode because it's in the bedroom. So yeah, that's the only finished object I have. So moving on to whips. Again, I have only one whip to show you, though I do have more whips. One of my whips I do have to frog. It is the Ragalano jumper that I'm making for Jimmy Jr. He's Triple Otter 2. Yeah, it's too big. After the last episode, just looking at it, it did seem like it was going to be big on him. So I got him to try it on, and it was just coming out too wide. And so I kind of thought, okay, I can work it back and reduce some of the what's it called, the raglan stitches, just do fewer raglan increases, just rip it back to, but then when I looked at where the what's it called, where the armholes would then, how wide that would be, I realized if I went back in that way, the armholes would be too small. So I then tried it on later that evening, and it actually fits me. So I went back to my numbers and measured out the my tension, and what I was getting before, I'm about 1 inch or half an, not 1 inch, 1 centimeter or half a centimeter out. No, 1 stitch or half a stitch out, kind of between that in terms of my numbers. And when I calculated it, I worked out that if I had gone according to the new tension I was now getting, the jumper would be 1 inch smaller in terms of the there'll be 1 inch of in terms of the circumference. So even with that, it still would be a bit big on him. So I don't know if it's just the numbers in the pattern, or maybe that's just the design. It's supposed to be loose fitting. So I'm going to go with something else. I think I did find something. I can't remember now. I did search for a top, and I think I find something. I have to check back on Ravelry again. So yeah, that's going to have to be ripped back, and I'll have to start that again. Whew. So yeah, so that's the story behind that one. What is that? You see this boy? Yeah, so the only physical whip I have to show you right now is the socks I'm making for Mr., who is Triple Otter 3. I finished the first sock. Yes, and I've cast on for the second one. I'm still on the cuffs. For this I'm using, oh no, I'm using Regia Perfect by Arn and Carlos. They that's the one where for the cuffs you just keep, it has the yellow yarn. The yarn is yellow at first, and you just pull it out until you get to the coloured section, and that's when you start knitting, and then you continue knitting the cuff until you start getting to this coloured section here, and that's what you do the legs, and then from that point on you then continue with that until you get to the blue section again, which is your heel. After that you just keep going for whatever length you want to finish the rest of this sock. So this is when the blue started again, which is supposed to generally be the contrasting colour for the cuffs, heels and toes, but I didn't start doing the toe shaping until I got to there. And even after this, there was still a bit of blue left over, if more than this, to before getting to the yellow section again, where you then pull it out and then you start again when you get to the new blue section and for the next sock. I think the ball I had was over there somewhere. I don't know if somebody's moved it, but yeah, so I've started the second sock already. I got him to try this on. Lengthwise on the foot, it's fine. Around the leg, it's a bit small because he is very slim. But I couldn't have really done fewer stitches because the circumference around his instep and heel is quite big, and even getting this on, it can go on, but I think that if I had used fewer stitches, I don't think it would be so easy to get on. So even though the legs are a little bit loose, I'm sticking with it, and the cuff is fine around him, so that should hopefully help it stay up. And when I made it and I got him to try it on, he wouldn't take it off. So he was walking around that evening with one sock on, and now I've just noticed a small stain there. I don't know what this boy stepped on. I don't know what, he even wanted to go to bed with it. I told him no. I actually had to rip it off his foot and tell him, no, you can't take it to bed. I think he actually did take it to the bedroom, and I had to follow him there, yeah, and take it off him just before he fell asleep. But yeah, he stepped on something. I think this is before they were clearing up after eating, and then yeah, he stepped in a bit of food that he was eating. But yeah, he didn't want to take it off. I said, you can't walk around with one sock on, and I need to finish the other one, and I need this, and I don't want anything to happen to it. But yeah, well, I'm gonna have to wash it anyway for blocking. So yeah, so that's the first one done. I would hope to finish the second foot, but I have been very busy with the Fab 8 stuff and other things. Yeah, so that's all the fibery things I can think of that I have to show. The only other whips I have, other than the Raglana, which now has to be frogged, is the mitts, the mittens from Stuff and Still. I haven't started. I haven't cast on for the outer, I haven't picked up the stitches for the thumb or the inner part of the mitten yet, again because I've been busy with other stuff. I think they're the only whips I have. I think nothing else comes to mind. Oh yeah, other than the long time ones, which I haven't gone back to again, but yeah, so that's all I have in terms of whips. Now goodies, again, it's light on the goodies. When was it? I think it was, what day was it? I think it arrived on Thursday and I posted it on Friday or Saturday. Yeah, so either Friday, no, I think I uploaded it on Thursday, I think, and then yeah, either Thursday or Friday. But I got my January box for the Sugar and Sloth Pin Party Club subscription. Those of you who don't know, Sugar and Sloth, I think they mainly do, well, I won't say mainly, they do enamel pins and also sell other things such as mugs and jewellery. And it's based on Anita, she's the person behind the company. It's based on her illustrations. So I've signed up to the Pin Party Club, which is a subscription box for enamel pins. I posted on YouTube a What's Inside video, which is my unboxing videos. And yeah, so this is what I received. The theme for January's box. So if you don't want to see them now, you can quickly hop over to watch the What's Inside video. But I do have to warn you, it's a bit rough around the edges because I received it in the morning. Then there was a power cut and I had to charge my phone wasn't charged, so I had to rush to pick up little Miss from school, from nursery, came back, charged my phone. Once my phone was charged, I didn't have much time before I had to then go and get the triple artists from school, and the light was going, and I didn't want to wait a whole nother day before doing it because that meant I wouldn't be able to open it. So yeah, so the video is a bit rough around the edges, so just so you know. But what I received in this club, the theme for the club was Sloth Spa Day. And there were 4 items in this box. One was this sticker, and it says sloth tub rules, no stress allowed, snacks okay. So I'm saving all the stickers I've got from her so far. Then there was this badge which says snacks. And then there was this other badge. We've got 2 badges as well as the enamel pin in this box, and it says it's time to chill. And finally, the pin itself. Now, when I saw this, I think I posted this on the Facebook group for Sugar and Sloth. When I saw this, the first thing that came to my mind was bubbles. Now, those of you who watch or who have watched Little Britain may remember Bubbles. She was the lady who was forever a resident. I think it was in a hotel or a health spa, and I just thought of Bubbles when I saw this. It looks nothing like Bubbles, but Bubbles just came to my mind. And if I can, I will put a picture of what Bubbles looks like. So this is the pin we got, and I absolutely love this. I think it's so funny. So yeah. Very happy with my box this month. Yeah, so these are £9 including shipping, so that's for the whole box itself. And I think next month's theme is myth and magic, so I'm hoping I can get that one as well, because I would like to keep building up my enamel pin collection. Right, so yeah, that's the only goodies I have to show, and I don't have any other fibery stuff to show. The only thing I have left to say is relation to the Fab 8. I have started working on the stitch markers I'm making. I baked some, I'm doing polymer clay based stitch markers, so I baked some stuff over the weekend. I'm now going to start the finishing side of things, sanding and decorating them. Yeah, so that's what I've just got laid out there. Yeah, I was just so amazed. If you are watching this and you have signed up for the Fab 8, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, because I mean, I knew the sign-ups are closed, the whole thing has sold out. I knew it would sell out, but I didn't expect it to sell out so soon. And I think the reason why it sold out so quickly was to do with this whole thing on Instagram about a post about traveling to India, which did offend a lot of people. Initially, I wasn't going to read the post, but then, well, I didn't actually read the actual post itself, but I read things. I did read the post, but I didn't read it on her actual blog. So I have read the post, and in reading it, I can see what the fuss is about. Well, I won't say fuss. I can see what the issue is. I know there were some people who read it and didn't understand why, but I think now that a few people whose names on Instagram I cannot remember have highlighted the issues with what was written, I think it should be clearer to people what was wrong with the post. I myself, when reading it, did think about some things that were written because of this. Number one, the over romanticization, if that's a word, of certain places. And I think that sometimes due to how these places are portrayed in books and on TV, and the places that they romanticize, it's usually the parts that are very touristy friendly or have been set up to be attractive to people from certain countries, but then other sides or other places within those countries are completely different, and they're the places where nobody's going to go to because it doesn't look as appealing or attractive to people. And also just the way it was presented as being such a big, huge step and a brave effort and things like that for this person to be doing it. But then when you think of it in the other way around, somebody traveling from other countries coming to here or to the US or maybe Australia, there isn't any fear or anxiety. No, I won't say there isn't a feeling of being anxious or nervous about what they're going to experience. It's more excitement about the opportunities that they're getting. And I think that having that difference in terms of when people from, I would say, Western countries or more developed countries go to countries that aren't as developed, there are sometimes seen as being that feeling of fear of the unexpected, or, as I said, over romanticization of these countries. But then when it's the other way around, there's more of a sense of excitement about going somewhere else. So it's just that feeling of, why is this country or this place being spoken about in this way, as if it's something extremely foreign or weird or untouchable or some sort of faraway fairyland that, you know, I don't know if I'm explaining myself properly, but I could understand, I fully understood why there was such an uproar about this post. And for me also, it's the fact that it's not even all countries, in terms of, let's say, developing countries, that are thought of in this way. It's only those that are presented within the press or media or as being, let's say, the hot right now countries. People will write about certain countries as being very beautiful, colourful, exciting, full of life and spice, and you should come here and visit. And they see it as being, when they go there, their life is changed, they were humbled by what they saw, their eyes were opened, they were filled with colour. But then you have other countries that aren't, let's say, advertised or viewed in the same way, that people could probably never ever go to, because of the fact that it's not presented to them in that same way. Even though economically they would be pretty much the same, but because one place has been presented in a very nice, foreigner friendly way and another place isn't, nobody wants to go to this one, everybody wants to go to this one because it looks a lot nicer and a lot more appealing for them to go to. And that was my main other issue that I personally had with it, is that, for example, my family's from Nigeria. I've never ever seen in any type of publication or anywhere Nigeria being written or spoken about in that way, as being full of colour, being full of life, or the hustle and bustle, the people, the kind of exoticness about it, things like that. I've never seen it being written or spoken about in that way. But for me, if I were to visit somewhere like India, I would see it as the same way of visiting Nigeria. The two, to me, seem sort of similar in terms of the economic system, the general environment, just how it looks, the way the people are to an extent. To me, there would be, for me, going to either one would be similar. Going to Nigeria would only be easier because that's where my family is from. I have family there. I've been there before. But other than that, it's very, very, to me, they are similar in those terms. And I know a lot of people who I know, if they were to go to somewhere like India, there wouldn't be any issue with them because they've come from somewhere like Nigeria. And so to them, again, in their own mind, it's just something that's the same but different. So it's just that idea that certain places or certain parts of particular countries are put up on this pedestal that people kind of look at with wonder and amazement, but then other places aren't thought of in that way. And those places that are thought of in amazement, again, it's only the areas where they really want to get tourists in and where it's been set up to attract tourists. So for me, that's just one of the kind of issues I had with it, and just some of the language that was used within the not swearing language, but description that was used within the post didn't sit well with me. So yeah, and I think a lot of people, it was just that idea. I hope I am making sense, because I feel like I'm rambling a bit. But yeah, but through all of that, I know I've just gone off on what I was saying before. Through all of that, a lot of people were suggesting that if you want to help people of colour feel welcome in the community, move up in the community, the best way to do it is to engage with them, buy from them, promote them, things like that. And a lot of people suggested the Fab 8 club, and it was great to see other people responding to that and actually signing up. I think one day I looked and there were about I think just over 100 slots left, and then later that evening I looked and there was about 90 slots left, and then the next morning I looked and there were about 50 slots left, and then the next morning after that it was like they were all gone. So, you know, I was just I was taken aback, I was pleased, excited, everything. Yeah, so now it's just time for me to work to get everything ready in time. So again, if you are somebody who signed up to the club, again, a big thank you for doing so. I know it's something that would have been a stretch for some people, but I do hope you like what I contribute to the club. I'm sure you'll definitely like what others are going to contribute to the club. And if you weren't able to sign up to it, Lady Diane's will be doing a summer one, so do look out for that as well in the future. But yeah, just thank you to everybody who did sign up to it, and thank you to all the new Instagram followers. I'm thinking of maybe doing a giveaway if I get to 1,000, but yeah, I don't want it to. I just hope that the followers that have joined are those who are here to stay, and it's not a sort of, oh well, let me just add a few people to my following list. I hope it's people who are going to be staying and will be engaging. Yeah, because, you know, I like meeting new people on Instagram, especially fellow crafters. So that would be great to be able to communicate and with people all over the world about what we are there for, which is crafting, whether it's knitting, crochet, things like that. So yeah. Oh, watching this, you would have seen the beginning of the podcast, and I hope you enjoyed the new intro that I had. I've decided to, as I mentioned in the previous episode, to make a few changes. So that was one of them, to have a new intro, and I might do the same for the outro as well, and that will be on this one, the That's So You podcast, and on the What's Inside videos, and the You review videos, and the Mrs. You Makes videos, where I do either food, recipe stuff, or crafting tutorials. So I am trying to improve things a bit. So if there's anything else you think I could do to improve, drop me a comment below and let me know. Yeah, let me know what you think of the intro. I wasn't sure what things to put inside. I was trying to look and see what I could put, and also the length as well. I hope it's not too long. I was trying to make it not too long, but not too short that it just seemed pointless having all those things in there. Other changes I'm planning to do are changes with my packaging. At the moment I use parcel paper to wrap up my packages with the items wrapped in bubble wrap. I want to change that to the small boxes that Royal Mail classify as large letters, so I want to do that in future. So at some point I will be getting some of those in. Yes, and I want to try and see with Little Miss now in nursery. I want to see if I can record every week. Obviously, and I'm saying I'm not going to make a definite set thing, but I'm going to see if I can record every week and see how that goes, because then maybe if I do, the episodes could be shorter. But that's only if I know I can do it, and then edit as soon as possible, because the last one I recorded and I wasn't able to edit it until I think 2 or 3 days later, which I don't like doing. So if I can record and then edit either that day or the next day, then that's fine. Yeah, what other changes? I know I haven't done any recipes or crafty bits in a long time. I do have a recipe that I want to do, but it's just a lighting. It's not going to be a baking one, it's going to be like a food one. But the lighting in my kitchen isn't so good. Even when I put the light on where the cooker is, there'll be lots of shadowing coming from the camera setup. So I'm going to see if I can do that, and so everything can be clear. Then yeah, I'll go ahead with that. If not, I'll do something else instead. So I've got that lined up. In terms of crafty stuff, there is one thing I was thinking of, but I need to trial it out just to see again how the setup would work. And with that one, because I'll be speaking on it, it needs to be when yeah, I think that is everything I have to say. Yeah, I think that's everything. But yeah, thank you for joining us today. I hope you have enjoyed the episode, even though it was a bit short and not much to show. Oh, I would have put hopefully where you can find me around the internets or the social medias. So Ravelry, I'm YummyTripletMummy. Instagram, Mrs. You Makes. I also have a Facebook page, which is Mrs. You Makes, but I don't really use that a lot. So I generally just post what I've got on Instagram. And Twitter, I have an account, but I really don't use that. Yeah. Oh, one more thing. Through all of this whole stuff with the blog, with that blog post, I saw a lot of people posting things about buy this person a coffee, buy that person a coffee, and I had no idea what they were talking about. So I went online to search for this, and I found out that it's a way of supporting creators in what they do through the price of a coffee. So I wasn't going to sign myself up, but then I thought, no, you know, do it. You might as well. You are a creator. It would be great to get some help and support if people are willing to do so. If other people are doing it, why shouldn't you do it? So that little voice in my head that was telling me, oh no, what's the point? Don't do it. Just, you know, I told it to go away, you know, get thee behind me. And I set one up for myself. So I will put that right at the end. So no pressure. if you are able to do it and you would like to do it, that would be great. It would be much appreciated. If not, that's fine. I would never want anybody to feel pressured into doing something. But those who do, it's something that I will strictly keep for purchasing of materials such as clay, bindings, tools. I think I won't really do it more towards the yarny stuff, because that stuff I would generally buy anyway to use in terms of knitting, but it will, I think the clay stuff is more very specific for that. I only ever really use it for making the stitch markers and things like that, and practicing other stuff. So it will mainly be used for that, and buying any other equipment and tools that I may need. So if it is something that you can do and would like to do, thank you very much for that. If not, that's fine. So yeah, this is the end now. I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and you do come back again and check out my other videos. Yes, also check out the blog. I haven't written on there in a while, but I do need to get back to doing that. So that is something I would need to do as well. But yeah, have a great rest of the day, week, month, and I hope to see you soon.